10 games, one division, and one last chance to matter in 2025. Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Booney. One name, no filters, and I don't care if the standings say last place, because around here, we are still fighting like it's October. I've been rolling with this franchise since Ricky blew past catchers and the Bash brothers turned pitchers into batting practice. This podcast isn't about nostalgia. It's about pride, payback, and proving that the A's aren't dead. They are just getting started. Right now, the A's are staring down a 10-game war against the AL West, the teams we should hate, and frankly, the teams we do hate. Texas, Houston, Seattle. Get ready, because we are coming with fire from Sacramento to the Strip, from our young core to the trade deadline buzz. I'm covering it all, loud, loyal, and unapologetically A's. You will get the truth, the emotion, the fight, because this isn't just the Locked On A's podcast. It's yours. This is the Las Vegas Athletics voice, and we are using it. Is there something you want me to cover? You say the word. This show is for every A's fan who refuses to quit, no matter what the standings say. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, send it to your crew, and let's show the AL West what happens when you back the A's into a corner. Time to bring the fire. Has the AL West lost its edge? Rivalries that once made baseball electric now feel like background noise? We dive into the history, the bad blood, and what it would take to bring that fire back. Because if you are going down, go down swinging, and maybe take a rival with you. This isn't just a preview. It's a challenge to the A's to stand tall, fight hard, and make the West remember who they are messing with. We will get into that a little bit later. Starting tonight, 3 in Texas, 4 in Houston, 3 against Seattle, back in Sacramento, 10 games, 3 rivalries. The crucial stretch. What does it mean, and what do the A's need to do? I will talk about that in just a few minutes. First, the next 10 games will either ignite the A's 2025 playoff hopes or put them out cold. Yes, I am still talking about playoffs. But with a brutal stretch against the Rangers, Astros, and Mariners, 7 of those games on the road, 3 teams ahead of them in the AL West and in the AL wildcard, the A's must decide what they are. Dark horse contenders clinging to life, or a young squad about to be gutted at the trade deadline. This episode breaks down what's at stake in each of these 10 games, why every inning matters, and how the A's can punch back in a division that has bullied them for the last couple years. This episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Well, guys, the Athletics season sits at a crossroads. They are 42-59, buried in last place, 16-plus games behind the first place Houston Astros. And in the wild card race, they are equally 12 games out of the final playoff spot. By any measure, the A's postseason chances are hanging by a thread. And yet, over the next 10 days, that fraying thread will, either be fortified or finally snapped. The A's next 10 games, starting tonight, are all against AL West rivals. A gauntlet that will make or break what little hope remains for the 2025 season. And yes, I still hope. It's a make or break stretch, not just in the standings, but in spirit as well. The A's are endured in a wild first half. They were surprising 22-20 at one point, even 20-16 in mid-May, then collapsed to, we all know the stretch, right? A 1-20 skid lost 11, got a win, lost 9. We all know the skid. And that seriously dampened any high hopes we were riding at the time. They showed resilience by playing roughly around 500 balls since early June. But that horrific slide, man, it just left them with too big of a deficit, man. The A's aren't mathematically eliminated. Players and coaches are not ready to completely dismiss the playoffs yet. I am not, obviously, but everyone knows the odds are slim. In the words of manager Mark Kotsay, the goal for the second half has shifted to keep growing, keep building, and keep winning series. Well, in the first series in Cleveland, it didn't quite go our way, losing 2 or 3. But the A's are fighting to build a future while clinging to the faintest spark of contention. Now comes a defining moment. 10 games in 10 days against 3 teams above them in the ALS and, of course, in the AL wildcard, Texas, Houston, and Seattle. And this stretch will determine if the A's can extend their flickering playoffs hopes into August, or if these rivals will crush those hopes completely. By the end of July, next week basically, we'll know whether the A's remain a fringe wild card dreamer, which I'm hoping for, or just gone. The stakes could not be higher. And yes, the season is on the brink. To understand the gravity of this upcoming division gauntlet, consider where each AL West team stands as play begins on July 21st tonight. The division has been a study in contrast this year. The A's are staring up at all of them, right? Houston Astros, 58-42, first place. The reigning AL West champs are vying to secure a top 2 seed and a first-round bye. Houston hit the All-Star break with the second best record in the American League and eyeing the top spot in the league. This juggernaut only concern is staying ahead of Toronto and chasing Detroit for seeding, but they are also a familiar villain for the A's, a team still shadowed by sign-stealing scandal that they pretend never existed, which is a little nutty to me. Astros is a team I used to like. I actually really dislike them right now. Their arrogance, who they are, ignoring what they did in that year is something A's fans haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten. Mariners, 53-47, second place, 5 games back. After back-to-back years narrowly missing the playoffs by a single game, Seattle's desperate to finally break through. They came out of the break with momentum. They swept the AL best Tigers and boast a 73% playoff odds to get to the playoffs. The Mariners haven't gained much ground on Houston since early summer, but they're firmly in the wild card mix. Anything less than a postseason berth would be considered a massive disappointment in Seattle, meaning they'll view the lowly A's as a team they must beat to avoid another heartbreaker. How about the Rangers? Yeah, the Rangers, third place, 8 games back. The 2023 World Series champion, and who the A's face tonight. They have had a rocky title. You know, they haven't been that same team since 2023. They limped into the All-Star break under 500, 8.5 games out of first with an uphill battle to make the playoffs. This despite a star-studded roster, to say the least. One of MLB's best pitching duos, Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi. The issue? Offense. Rangers ranked near the bottom, 25th in batting average and on-base percentage. And the team officials bluntly noted, just flat out, haven't gotten on base enough. A simple truth for a team expected to be an offensive powerhouse. Still, winning 2 of 3 from Houston right before the break gave Texas a spark. They are much alive in the wild card. Actually, only 3.5 games back. And no, a big second half run is needed. Facing the A's is an opportunity for the Rangers to build momentum. if they can avoid playing down to the competition. So they think. And of course, the Angels, 49-50, fourth place, 8.5 games back. They're not in the A's next 10 games, but the Angels loom in the division narrative. The Angels were expected to flop this year after 99 losses in 2024, and their goal for 2025 was simply to stay in the wild card hunt, and they've done so. Hanging around 500 this season, I mean, they're 7-0 against the A's. However, neither of the Angels' resurgence and their long-running star, Mike Trout, have translated into a real threat. They remain on the fringes of contention. Historically, A's-Angels was the AL West rivalry. Believe it or not, since 2000, the A's have 7 AL West division titles, the Angels 6. But today it's a matchup of two clubs that trying to remember what contention feels like. And of course, the A's, 5th place, 16.5 games back. 2025 has been about painful growth. The A's focus has shifted to development over contention. We got a new wave of rookies, guys. Wilson, Kurtz, Muncy, Jacob Lopez, Denzel Clark, and seeing which might become cornerstones. A dreadful start ensured that even a 500 stretch in June, July didn't pull them out of the cellar. On paper, the A's playoffs hopes are flickering at best, but they haven't flatlined yet, guys. The front office appears poised to be light sellers, depending, likely shopping veterans on expiring deals like a Luis Urias, a Gio Urshela, Miguel Andujar maybe, and yet they have vowed not to break up the young core. In short, the A's are balancing the future and present. They are auditioning kids and clinging to faint hope that a miracle run could make things interesting. That miracle must begin now within the division. Let's get into that up next. This stretch against the AL West is no time to be unprepared, and the same goes for your job site. When it's time to gear up, you go with supplyhouse.com, the go-to spot for skilled trade pros who need reliability, speed, and zero nonsense. Just like the A's aren't waiting until 2028 to start competing, you don't wait around for the big box store to catch up. With over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, Supply House has everything you need for plumbing, HVAC, and electrical work, delivered fast, coast to coast. Their website's clean, simple, and loaded with the latest product info to help you get the job done right the first time. And when you need backup, you don't get bounced around like a bullpen phone in extra innings. You get a real person, real quick. Want an edge like the A's young core? Join the free Trade Master program for perks like a dedicated support line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of pros are already winning with Supply House. Why not you? Sign up today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Supplyhouse.com, built for the pros who don't wait to make their move. All right, guys, 10 games, 3 rivalries, the crucial stretch. Beginning tonight, the A's face a 10-game stretch, 3 games at Texas today through Wednesday, 4 games at Houston Thursday through Sunday, and 3 back at home in Sacramento against the Mariners Monday through Wednesday. This is the kind of stretch for a contender would be billed as a season-defining gauntlet. For the A's, it feels like more of a last rites or maybe a last stand. Let's break down what lies ahead in each series and how each opponent could either extend the A's lifeline or drive the final nail in the coffin. Texas, starting tonight in Arlington. On paper, this is a meeting of division extremes. The out-of-it A's versus a underachieving but dangerous Rangers squad. But A's fans will longer the memories can't help but feel a spark when the A's and Texas square off. After all, these two shared one of the division's most dramatic chapters. Who can forget 2012? Remember, guys, when the A's stormed back from 13 games down in late June to steal the AL West crown from Texas on the final day. The A's erased a 4-run deficit in game 1-6-2. The Rangers literally dropped the ball. Josh Hamilton's infamous drop fly, and the A's completed an improbable rally to topple the AL West defending champs at the time. It was stuffs of legends, right? The kind of moment that bursts rivalry. But since that high point, the A's-Rangers rivalry has significantly cooled, man. Both teams went through down cycles at different times. The intensity of 2012, when they dueled for that division title, gave way to indifference as the A's rebuilt and the Rangers struggled by the late 2010s. Even Texas' resurgence by spending big, Seager, Simeon, DeGrom, in 2020s hasn't reignited the feud, mostly because the A's fell out of the fight, man. As former A's outfielder Johnny Gomes once absolutely said, you can't have a good team and a bad team and have it be a rivalry. They have to be good for a steady amount of time. One-sided dominance breeds apathy and animosity, not aminosity. Right now, Texas might be tempted to overlook the A's. A last-place squad should be easy picking for the Rangers. But that complacency can be dangerous. The A's, for all their faults, have played the Rangers tough this year. In fact, the A's have won 5 of 7 head-to-head over the Rangers so far this year. 3 of 4 in Texas and 2 of 3 in Sacramento. The young A's seem relished to play spoilers to the Rangers' plans. One of the highlights of the A's first half was beating Texas, including some late-inning drama and heroic moments from the rookies. The A's can punch above their weight and steal a couple games in Arlington. They got to get tonight, and they got to get Wednesday. DeGrom is on the hill tomorrow night, and we know what DeGrom can do. If Texas flexes its muscle and, say, sweeps this series, it could send the A's reeling, man. The A's are hanging on barely. Getting beat down by the Rangers directly ahead of you would all but confirm what the standings already suggest. The A's climb is too steep. There's also an emotional angle, right? This might be their last run in green and gold. If things go south fast for guys like veterans like Gio Urshela, Miguel Andujar, Luis Urias, they'll likely get dealt by the 31st. There should be a sense of extra urgency, which I've been hoping for this team for quite some time. Nobody wants to be shipped off, or maybe they do. Who knows? And a strong showing in Texas might convince management to hang tight a little longer. There's pride on the line. The Rangers may view the A's as an annoyance at best, but for the A's, this series is an opening to prove they won't go quietly. Next, the series I'm looking forward to the most, and I'm sure most of you are as well. Houston, the villains. After Texas, the A's headed into the Lions' den. 4 games in Houston against the mighty Astros. If there's one AL West team the A's has the most ill will towards in the recent years, it's Houston. The Astros have been the class of the division for a decade, yes, but also the most controversial. And A's fans and most of baseball's eyes, Houston's recent dynasty will always be tainted by the 2017 cheating scandal. The A's were one of the loudest critics when that news broke and the bad blood spilled onto the field. Who could forget the ugly bench-clearing ball in 2020 when Houston's hitting coach provoked the A's Ramon Laureano into charging the dugout after Laureano was hit by a pitch for the 3rd time in a series. The coach, Alex Cintron, was suspended 20 games, a record for a coach, for inciting that fight. The A's Astros anger in that moment was real. a rare flame of passion in an otherwise lopsided rivalry. Why so lopsided? Well, simply put, Astros have largely had their way with the A's. Houston's talent-laden roster and October pedigree have made them a perennial powerhouse. While the A's oscillated between upstart challenges and full rebuilds, the A's did win the West in the shortened 2020 season, only see the Astros knock them out of the playoffs that year. Another log on the fire, but in the years since, Houston returned to ruling the roost and the A's descended to the basement. As Houston Street, a rare player who wore both uniforms, said, as soon as one side falls by the wayside, then the rivalry is immediately diminished. Indeed. It's a hard call. It's a rivalry lately where the Astros are competing for pennants and the A's are swapping veterans for prospects. And yet, don't tell the A's these games don't matter, because they do. And so far this year, the Astros have gotten it. They won 2 in Houston, and they split in Sacramento. 4-2 Astros. 4-2 Astros. That is correct. If anything, the Astros are so good and so disliked by A's faithful, beating Houston feels like a championship of its own for a day. Earlier this year, June 19th, the A's delivered one of their most exhilarating moments by stunning Houston on a walk-off homer by rookie Nick Kurtz in extra innings. This 4-game set in Houston will test the A's mettle, man. The Astros will be highly motivated. They are locked in a tight race for the American League's top record and can't afford to drop games to the last place club. For Houston, these games are about taking care of business and maybe burying a pesky opponent for good. If the Astros win, let's say 3 of 4, they not only inch closer to a playoff bye, but effectively snuff out the A's flicker of hope. However, if the A's could somehow split or win this series, that could be season altering, man. You never know. Imagine the A's rolling into Houston and taking, say, 2 of 4, maybe 3 of 4. It would be a huge morale victory and could knock the Astros off their course. It would be also favor to Seattle and Texas, tightening the division race above. I mean, Seattle, final leg of the gauntlet, 3 games, Sutter Health Park. Mariners have everything to play for. After decades of mediocrity, they are trying to establish themselves as annual contenders. They famously ended their 20-year playoff drought in 2022, only to miss out in an agonizing fashion in 23 and 24. For Seattle, dropping games to the A's would be inexcusable and potentially disastrous. Historically, the A's and Mariners rivalry hasn't been the gentlest, right? There isn't a deep wall of animosity, no infamous fighting or heated pennant race, aside from 2002 when the A's 20-game win streak helped fend off a good Mariners team. In fact, for many years, both clubs were chasing the Angels or Rangers and not directly trading blows. As a result, A's-Mariners games never carried the same venom, say, Yankees-Red Sox or, Dodgers-Giants, obviously. But as we look at it, what are we thinking? Best case scenario, a stunning surge. 7+ wins, the A's catch fire and win most of these games. Perhaps they take 2 of 3 in Texas, split in Houston, win the Seattle series, or even better, if the A's went, say, 7-3, 8-2, it would be season altering for the moment. They would still be under 500, yes, but momentum would be on their side. In the wild card race, a surge like that could chop a few games off that 12-game deficit, keeping them in the conversation a bit longer. I just want to make it scary. Importantly, it would signal to the front office and fans that this young team might have a miracle run in them. We'll see, guys. Middle ground. Treading water, 5-5, 6-4. Suppose the A's hold their own, but don't truly dominate. Something like a split with Texas, a split with Houston. You win 1 in Texas. You win the series against Seattle. It likely won't be enough to resurrect playoff hopes. They basically tread water in the standings, still 10 games plus 10 plus games out of with 2 months left. Tough. But, mathematically, sure, they're still in it. Worst case, crush 3-7. Well, this is the nightmare scenario. A's get to pummeled by their rivals and limp out with, say, two or three wins out of 10. Well, that would be a wrap. It would likely push their record to something like 45-66 by the end of July, and remaining hope would be essentially gone. A collapse in these division games would all but officially eliminate the A's from contention. And the morale hit could be significant. All I want to do is compete with these guys, compete with these teams. Beyond the wins and losses is the bigger question looming over this 10-game stretch. Where has the fire gone in the AL West rivalries? The Athletics are one of the league's storied franchises, and division battles used to brim with intensity. Yet in recent years, as the A's sank in the standings and even announced plans to relocate, the traditional rivalries have felt toothless. It's not just the A's woes. Several AL West teams have rarely been good at the same time. The result is a division that, aside from Houston's dominance, has lacked the crackling energy of, say, a Yankees, Red Sox, or Dodgers, Giants feud. It's gotten all a bit stale. Let's get into that up next. Summer baseball is heating up, and if you are locked in like we are watching the A's battle the entire AL West for survival, then FanDuel is the perfect way to turn every inning into high-stakes drama. You are already living and dying with every pitch. Why not raise the stakes? While your friends are grilling burgers or roasting at the beach, you could be riding a same-game parlay into the ninth inning, sweating every at-bat like it's October. I've been using FanDuel to follow these rivalry matchups, and let me tell you, it makes every game feel like the postseason. The app's easy, fast, and constantly loaded with daily promos that keep things interesting. Whether I'm banking on a Nick Kurtz bomb or a Kotsay bullpen gamble paying off, FanDuel makes me feel like I'm part of the action, not just watching it. Download the FanDuel app now and bet along with the A's division fight, because the games matter, the rivals are real, and every wager is a shot to beat the odds. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. The A's rivalries with Texas, Houston, Seattle, and yes, the Angels need a jolt, as that 2014 retrospective on the A's-Angels rivalry noted. It just takes two winning teams to create a true rivalry. The AL West has consistently had that. When the A's were great in the early 2000s, the Mariners fell off and the Rangers were rebuilding. When the Angels were great, the A's had down years. In the last decade, when Houston ascended, the A's rose briefly to challenge them, basically 2018 through 2020, but then collapsed just as Seattle got good. It's been a maddening game of leapfrog, never aligning fierce competition for long. As a consequence, the edge has dulled, no question. Even fans have seemed less invested in hating the other guys. Hard to muster hatred when you're more focused on your own team's survival, which it has been like for the A's. Consider the current state. The Astros are respected for their success, but widely loathed for their past cheating. It happened. Even if the Astros don't truly recognize it happened. Yet, are any AL West teams truly challenging them, regardless of what happened in 2017? On or off the field? Seriously. The Mariners and Rangers, far from having bad blood, just jointly lamented Houston's supremacy in recent years. The Angels have been a non-factor for over a decade. They haven't even finished 500 for over a decade. And the A's, well, the A's have been preoccupied with front office fire sales and ballpark drama. The division as a whole has lacked a compelling narrative of rivals who can't stand each other. It shouldn't be this way. These clubs have history. They share divisions, fan bases, overlap along the West Coast. There are grudges to nurture. if only the competition were closer. Some in the Bay Area media have even openly wondered if the AL West rivalries are dead or merely dormant. The critical tone among longtime observers is palpable. Why doesn't it feel like hate when the A's play, say, the Astros? Have we accepted division games as just another date on the schedule? Perhaps it's time to rekindle that animosity. Rivalries are the lifeblood of sports. It doesn't feel like that anymore. They draw out passion in the players and fans alike. Rivalries thrive on excellence and emotion. The emotion part might be under the A's control, even if the excellence part is a work in progress. We need some chip on the shoulder stuff, guys. Some chip on the shoulder moments. Kind of like Kurtz had it in Sacramento with the bat flips. We need the A's to take offense to a bat flip, to a roar a little louder when striking out an Astro. We need the crowd, however many show up and sack, to boo the villains and cheer the heroes like it really matters. One might ask, is it hard to hate the other team when you're 20 games under 500? Maybe. But the A's can channel a nobody believes in us mentality against these divisional foes. The A's have every right to resent the Astros for seemingly having a golden ticket to October. And if you really look at it, since the year 2000, the Astros have 7 AL West division titles. The A's have 7, which leads all of the AL West. And yes, I get it. The Astros didn't join until, 2012, I think. They can resent the Rangers for their free spending ways and for that smug World Series trophy they snagged. They can resent the Mariners for being media darlings who haven't won a ring, while the A's have 9 championships in their history. Don't forget that, guys. 9 championships. They can certainly resent the Angels for their early 2000 battles and for poaching fans in California. Use it, fuel to the fire. These rivalries have lost their edge, man. Siphon, just for us to go on a run, Butler needs to show up and pitching staff has to be more dependable. Also, Urshela Innar to give it away to Harris and Colby Thomas. I'm with you on Harris. I'm not sold on Colby Thomas. I don't think Colby Thomas is the guy. I don't think he's been the guy. Hasn't been consistent in Vegas. When he did get his shot, he wasn't good. He wasn't good in spring training either. So, but yes, I'm with you on Brett Harris. I would like to see him get a shot. Bamboo, I remember when Ramon was heated. Wasn't that something? Wasn't that something, man? I want to see that fire come back in the AL West. At the end of the day, this 10-game trial by fire will reveal a lot about this team. Will they crumble under the weight of superior opponents and effectively bow out of the race, or will they rise to the challenge, delaying the funeral? That's all I want, guys. Delay the funeral. Let this season go a little bit longer. Inject some sort of new life into the season. Just extend it. That's all I want. I don't want this season to be done yet. And yes, I'm probably the last fan hanging hope, but emotionally, it could swing widely over the next week, 2 weeks. One night you're beating Texas and thinking maybe, just maybe. The next, you're getting shut out by Houston and feeling the doom. It's a test of just talent, but resilience and pride, man. The Athletics franchise, remember, is no stranger to defying expectations. We've done it year in and year out. And all of a sudden, this rivalry seems to have a new identity. Colby, 80 games to 900. He's striking out a ton. I mean, you're talking about Vegas. He's striking out a ton. He's striking out a ton in Vegas, 900 OPS. But sure, in Vegas, where Seth Brown has hit close to 500, where Johnny Pereda has put up better numbers than Colby Thomas, where JJ Bleday was flirting around with 400. I can go through player after player after player. If you are not exceeding that in Vegas, I don't think you are ready. If you are not hitting at an extremely high level, you're not ready. And when he did get his shot in AAA, when he got brought up in spring training, he hasn't been the guy. He has looked overmatched. He hasn't even looked close to getting it done. I would like to see a Carlos Cortez get a shot over a Colby Thomas. I want to see Carlos Cortez get his shot over Colby Thomas. Going back 70 games, 900%. I don't think he's an all-star, but he's not better than Andahar. He's not better than Andahar. No. We'll disagree on that one. Andahar is a professional hitter who is consistently 280, 290 in the MLB, in the big leagues. He hasn't hit for that power, sure. But no, I think when you're talking about who would I rather have on my team in the lineup, a Colby Thomas or a Miguel Andahar, for me, it's night and day. It's Miguel Andahar 10 times out of 10. You're right. And doubles. Give him some credit on the doubles too. But for the most part, singles. But he is hitting. Right now, we haven't seen any hitting from Colby Thomas. You could make an argument, hey, he hasn't gotten enough at bats. Okay, maybe. He's known as a bad defender, right, Siphon? That's the stereotype on Andahar. He hasn't played bad. He's not, I will agree he's average at best. Miguel Andahar, to me, has shown this year to be an average defender, both at third and in left field. Average at best, right? But again, we're comparing Colby Thomas, who hit in the low 100s in spring training, and he got plenty of at-bats. When he got brought up, got one hit and 16 at-bats with 10 Ks? Again, that's off memory. I could be wrong on that, but I think I'm pretty close on that. And when you're talking about Miguel Andahar, we're talking about a proven hitter. Listen, I'm not too far off as far as what you're saying with regard to Andahar being older, maybe try somebody else. Sure. I would want to try Carlos Cortez. Okay. Carlos Cortez is the guy who's crushing it in AAA. And to your point, if you want to sit Miguel Andahar down, I don't agree, but let's go towards your point, and it's not going to be with Colby Thomas. It would be with Carlos Cortez. Is great in left field, and he hits with runners in scoring position. I'm just saying we don't know what we have with Colby. This is a lost season, so let's find out who he is. Fair enough. I get your point. I think he's going to get another shot up, Siphon. I think when they extend the rosters to September, I think that's when he'll get another call up. For now, I think Carlos Cortez gets the shot over Colby Thomas. Both corner outfielders both corner outfielders defensively, not the same defensively, I would say, as far as talent-wise, but right now Carlos Cortez is hitting in a different time zone than anybody else in the A's farm system. It's the only thing we got. Brett Harris, I like a lot too. He's been slumping, man. And you guys know what a big fan I have been of Brett Harris. He's been making electric play out of electric play at third base, though. The guy's been killing it defensively. I see what you're saying. You want to give him more extended at bats, give him some starts. Okay. All right. I'm with you. I'm not against that. And I think that time will come. But over the next month, I think that time will come in September. Over the next month, if they do make a change, I want it to be Carlos Cortez. I want to see what we have from Cortez. That's all I'm saying. But all right, I'm with you. I'm not against that. But Andahar in 2026 is greater Harris or Max Muncy or Tommy White or Zach Geloff? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not close. Miguel Andujar's good, man. I mean, let's not like. I mean, Miguel Andujar is really, really good. Let's get Miguel Andujar's stats up here for what he has done. So Andujar's been kind of crushing it, man. Not crushing it. All right, 51 games, 189 at bats, 19 runs, 55 hits, 8 doubles, a triple, 3 bombs, 22 ribbies, 10 walks, only 24 Ks, 291, 715 OPS. I'm not a big fan of that OPS number. I think it has some holes in it. Because if you were to tell me who's contributed more offensively by the eye test, Lawrence Butler or Miguel Andujar, I mean, believe it or not, I'm going to say Miguel Andujar. And you're telling me that Butler's OPS is 29 points higher? Listen, I get the argument both ways. But point being is there is an argument. I'm not sold on some of the deep analytics, man. I'm not sold on that. Shea Langolier, 754 OPS. I mean, look at all the players that have higher OPS than Andujar. Butler. I say Butler's been and who would you think's a better offensive player by the eye test? All right. If I was to pull this out. Okay, let's do this little exercise. Who would you by the eye test? Who's a better offensive player? Lawrence Butler or Miguel Andujar? I'm asking everybody. Everyone has their own opinion. I'm not saying it's one way or the other. Lawrence Butler or Miguel Andujar? I say Miguel Andujar. Brett Rooker or Miguel Andujar? I say Brett Rooker. Easy. Tyler Soderstrom or Miguel Andujar? I think it's close. I give the edge to Soderstrom. Wilson or Wilson. That's not even a debate. Here's one. Max Schumann's at 714 OPS. Miguel Andujar 715. You're telling me you'd rather have Max Schumann in the lineup according to OPS than Miguel Andujar? I'm not with that. Nick Kurtz obviously is better. So it's close. It's close at some of these. I don't know. Max Muncy, by the way, this month is 820 OPS hitter. If they don't bring up Harris, Muncy's at third is out. Best bet. So OPS is 820. If they don't bring up Harris, Muncy at third is out. I don't follow exactly what you're saying. Muncy at third is out, best or is in? I love Muncy, and he has been tearing it up. Is our okay? Is our yes? Is our no 100% without a doubt. Ideally, I think Muncy is penciled in to the A's infield for the next several years. He's done. I consider Muncy as about as concrete as the A's starting infielder next year in the foreseeable future, as equally as Kurtz and Wilson is at short and at first. The question with Muncy is which position. Is it going to be second or is it going to be third? And who are we going to get at one of those positions? Because we definitely need one more infielder. I'm comfortable with Muncy, Wilson, and Kurtz over the next 5 years. Like in his prime? No, I think it's higher than that. If he plays, are you saying if he plays, let's say 150 games and gets 500 and something plus at bats? I think it's way higher than that. I mean, he has 9 bombs, 400. I mean, I think his ceiling is like 260, 260, yeah, 260, 265, 25, 30 bombs. I got him even higher on bombs. He's only 22, man. I mean, these guys don't reach their prime until, I could even see Muncy as like a 270, 30 bombs type of guy. If you take away his first 80 at bats of the year, which he just seemed overwhelmed, he's been kind of tearing it up. He's been really, really good as of late. I mean, he's had some big series. I mean, look at him against Toronto. He was 3 for 12, 1 bomb. That's like his worst series. Against the Braves, he was 3 for 12, 1 bomb. Against the Giants, he was 3 for 12, 3 doubles. Against the Rays in Tampa, 3 for 11, 2 bombs. The guy hits the ball hard, man, and he's young. No, not even close. No, but you can't do that. You can't use that type of analogy, though, right? Siphon, I don't think you can. Because when you're looking at his minor league numbers as far as that, we're looking at a 20, 21-year-old kid. We're looking at a kid just freshly out of high school. I mean, he hasn't been out of high school for, 2 years? I mean, he'd be, a senior in college right now? I don't think you could use that type of analysis when you're looking at somebody like Max Muncy. I think you could use that when he's like 24 years old. But when you're 22 years old, you're still developing. What Muncy will become physically at 24, 25 years old is night and day to what he is today. So I don't think you could use that same analysis. I get where you're going with it, but I think it's different. And I think there's a reason why it takes a long time, and you shouldn't rush high school kids like what Muncy was. No, to answer your question, it does not. His minor league stats does not support 270, 30 home run peak. But I will tell you what does. What he's looked like in the last 25, 30 games do. Is that a small sample size? Yes, it is. It is. But it supports that claim. I don't think saying 270, 30 home runs by the time 2028 hits is out of the realm. Okay, true, but you're talking about unicorns there, right? You're talking about unicorns there. I don't consider Max Muncy at the same level as a Jacob Wilson with regard to average. I consider him better than in average than Nick Kurtz, and I consider him stronger in power than Jacob Wilson, obviously. But I also consider him in between Wilson and Kurtz with regard to power. I don't think there's a big I don't consider Muncy on the same level as Kurtz and Wilson. But, you're talking about Kurtz, who's 22 years old, that if he plays a full season, you're looking at potentially a 40, 45 home run guy. That's nuts. And same thing with Wilson as far as what he's doing batting average wise. So Muncy's AAA numbers. Let me give you Muncy's AAA numbers. What he did this year in AAA. This year I'm going to give you. I don't have last year's. If you guys have last year's, let me know. Max Muncy in AAA, 31 games, 123 at-bats, 24 runs, 40 hits, 11 doubles, 1 triple, 3 bombs, 22 RBIs, 11 walks, struck out 32 times, 325, 901 OPS. So 325 with 3 bombs in, in 123 at-bats. I don't know what his numbers were last year. or bring Harris up and start Muncy at second. I like that, Grav. I like that. I want that. I want Brett Harris to be the guy at third base. I want him to be the guy. Okay? I want him to be the guy at third base. I don't know what Brett Harris did last night, but going into last night's game, 44 games, 160 at-bats, 9 bombs, 31 RBIs, 22 walks, 26 strikeouts, hitting 300, 914 OPS. And that's good, but you got to remember, Brett Harris not too long ago was at like 340, 350. Muncy should be everyday third base, and Urias. For now, yes. I mean, I don't really want to. Urias is good. I think we need better than Urias right now if we're talking about the future. Muncy was pushed aggressively through minors and only got better. Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. He's gotten better throughout the minors. No question about it. He has gotten better throughout the season. That's like I said. That's why me saying his ceiling as far as a professional. I'm not saying next year. I'm not saying the year after. I'm saying when he hits his prime, 2028, 2029, 2030. I don't think 25, 30 home runs with a 270 average is saying anything crazy. Third base has been a black hole for the A's since Donaldson. Since Chapman. Yeah, right. Since Chapman. I think you're meaning since Chapman. Since Chapman. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, no kidding, man. Who was there last year for most of the year? What do we have? Tyler Nevin? J.D. Davis, didn't he start the year last year at third? Abraham Toro, who actually had a pretty darn good first half last year for the A's. First like 40 games. He wasn't bad. But yeah, it's been rough, man. Brett Harris was up there for a while last year. He showed he could pick it, but he couldn't field it. Yeah. Gio Urshela. You guys don't like Urshela? Oh man, Urshela, man. Why? Yeah. Point to this whole thing is, listen, I want us to compete. I want this season. I want to hang on a little longer to what we're doing. I don't want the offseason to start yet. So yeah, next 10 games are pretty crucial. And yeah, and I like the ideas of Thomas and bringing them up and seeing what they actually got. But I want to see that in September. I want to give a guy like Carlos Cortez a shot. I want to see Brett Harris up here. I want to see what he can do. He's paid his dues. He's been down in the minors all year. I want to get rid of the veterans, such as a Gio Urshela. I mean, they're just, what are they doing, man? Why are they still on the roster? Oh, I really want to win 74 games, which would be a 5-game improvement. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. It's been a tough year. I want some excitement, and that's what's great about baseball. It's 162. We're 101 games in. Sure. There's 61 games more. And, yeah, I've been looking for a spark for 4 months. It's been getting tiring. And, I'm hoping we still got one in us. Susan. Who am I missing? What am I missing there? Susan. What am I missing there? Am I missing something? Susak. Thank you. Daniel Susak. Good question. I would like to see Susak. Susak's been solid in AAA. That's for sure. He's put up good numbers. He's had some big games. I think without a doubt, what has Susac done? 62 games, 230 at bats, 32 runs, 65 hits, 12 doubles, a triple, 11 bombs, 47 ribbies, 27 walks, 73 strikeouts, 283, 855 OPS. And for a while there, he was around 310. I would like to see Susac. Right now, what do we have on there? Austin Wins. Again, another journeyman catcher. I like him, but for what? What's he here for? The first 11-game losing streak was bad with overcomable. 9. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was rough, wasn't it? What was that 11-game? Every time you bring it up, I got to look it up. Jeez, man. Golly. What was that darn 11-game streak? It was it was when we went on the road, man. We beat the Phillies, right? To end the streak. Then we got blown out in game 1 against the Astros. Come back, bullpen blows it. Then we go to Toronto for 4. We went to Toronto for 4. Blown out, I think, in game 1, and then we were in the next few games. 1, 2, that's 6. Then a 4-game set against the Twins, and we lose the first 3. That was the first 11-game winning streak, yeah. 2 against the Dodgers, 3 against San Francisco, and then the Angels, man. The Angels were one I thought we just overlooked. We get swept at home in 4, man. And then we lose the first 2 games to the Phillies. We need negativity out of the clubhouse. Sevy and Butler need to go. Butler's been better as of late. But, yeah, he's still there. Soderstrom hasn't been much better, RD. I agree with you on the negativity and the culture. Soderstrom hasn't been much better. Soderstrom's been bad. As bad as Butler. I blame the Butler season on Tyler Ferguson. You could point as to one game that was the real turnaround to the season. Was game 2 against the Mariners, where Kotsay brought Ferguson in for the 4th straight night. If I was to point to one moment of the season where I'm like, oh, this is where it started. Yeah, for me, it was game 2 of that Mariners season where Ferguson came in, pitched. Jeffrey Spring started that game. Went 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs. Sterner came in, did his job. And then I think he came in, or was it Harris or Murdoch? Anyway, and then Ferguson came in, 2/3 of an inning, 22 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned. And that was it, man. The Marlins game killed me, yeah. But what was nice about that Marlins series, where I didn't think we were dead, is we won game 3 of that set. If you remember, Soderstrom had the big base hit in the 9th, pinch hit. That won us that game. Then we win the opening game against the Mariners. Was it Wilson that walked it off for us against the Mariners in game 1? So I thought we were still alive. That's true. You haven't seen Soderstrom, but I've seen him absolutely look like he doesn't care. He hasn't hustled out ground balls. He's hasn't taken fly balls to left seriously. He's played with a sense of laziness. He's 23 years old. On both those guys, 23 and 24 for Butler. Listen, they are young, but they need to be held accountable too. But I can't sit here and say it's only Butler when it's Soderstrom just as much. Sure. Have we seen the frustration and the throwing of bats of Butler and all that stuff and more emotion? Yes, but I don't hold Soderstrom's apathy as less than what Butler has shown as far as attitude-wise. And yeah, hey, listen, they both got to get better. They're young, 23 and 24 years old. That's part of it as well. But For me, it's equal with those two. That grand slam off Miller turned Stowers into an all-star, just like Jackson Merrill last year, Jose Suri, not so much. And then the 3-game set against the Giants. Yeah, that's where I still remember that series of game 2. Lineups out. No Clark in center field, huh? Who's playing center field? Schumann? I haven't looked at the lineups. I would guess it's Schumann. I'm just guessing. I don't know who else you put out there in center. But game 2 of that Giant series, always remember, and that's kind of the story. What pisses me off was going into the 9th inning, Butler's in center. Rooker and Wright are one of those guys, I assume. Going into the 9th, Dallas Braden put out a Twitter post with his foot on the another day at the office, which he does. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 0-0, top of the 9th. Our season's on the brink of falling apart. We just got blown out in 2 games in LA. We got blown out in game 1 in San Francisco. We're playing our division rivals, and listen, you have your feet on the line in the top of the 9th. Another day at the office. It's like a perfect example of the A's franchise, man. Just not in touch with reality. Not in touch with reality. That was just a perfect symbolism to the year. Man. Trade Sevy and Butler for a solid third baseman or starting pitcher. I still believe in Butler, and he's on a good contract. He's playing center field. He hasn't played center field. I mean, he's played what? He hasn't hurt us this year in center. He hasn't hurt us Butler really hasn't hurt us defensively this year. He's been good. He hasn't been great. He's been solid. He's been better than I thought he would be defensively this year in right and center. Looks sketchy a little bit going after balls here and there, but he's made all the plays he's had to. He's been okay. I mean, last year, at the beginning of the year, I'd agree with that a little bit more, but he hasn't been too bad. I'd rather have Butler on the outfield than Blade. I wouldn't say that last year. But 5 o'clock, I'll have post game tonight. She's been over and on here for an hour, guys. I'll have post game tonight, and then the rest of the week, Tuesday through Sunday, I'll have a late night post game. Appreciate you guys sticking around, and hopefully we can make this stretch interesting, right? I mean, see what happens, man. It makes it exciting, but most teams playoffs starting in October, are starting July. Muncie at 3rd, Urias at 2nd. Okay, let me check out the order since you got me on this order kick. I also want to find out if we announced a starter for tomorrow. That's the other thing that's a little crazy right now. They don't even know. Butler's value will be never higher right now. You don't think he's better than playing than he is right now? Maybe. I don't know. When he's good, he's good. His contract's good too. He has a favorable contract for a team. Okay, lineup. Let's see what we got. Odds. Whoa, the A's are favored. Big time. That's crazy. And the lineup. I have not seen. Where's the lineup, guys? Why am I not showing it? Oh, let's check out the old lineup. Come on. All right. Butler leading off, playing center field. Hopefully doesn't strike out 4 times. Wilson batting 2nd, Kurtz 3rd, Rooker 4th, Langeliers 5th, Soderstrom 6th, Andahar playing right field, batting 7th, Muncie 8th. I like this lineup. A lot. I'm not opposed to this lineup. Love it. I'm fine with this lineup. It's a deep lineup. That's a good lineup. That's a good, deep lineup. Here's what I do want to see. Have we announced a starter for tomorrow? Last time I checked before I got on here, I have not seen anything like it. That's what I want to see. Have we announced a starter for tomorrow? Because this starting thing has gotten me a little confused. Because pre-break, they were asking Kotze about the rotation. And he basically said, it's 3 spots. It's 1 spot. Excuse me. It's 1 spot for 3 guys that are competing for it. And I took it as Ginn, Perkins, and Badeau for that final spot. Because remember, we sent Spence down. But we just pitched Ginn on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. He only pitched an inning. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if you had to guess, it's probably, it's Ginn. He pitched an inning on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 3 days rest. Yeah. But only an inning. I'm with you. If it had to be somebody, maybe they go with like Ginn for 4 or 5 innings, and then like maybe a Hogan Harris and go to the bullpen. See how the game goes. We're going against DeGrom. So yeah, you're probably right. All right, guys. Appreciate you cruising by. Hopefully I'll see you after the game, huh? Take care, fellas. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.